Welcome to the weekly dose of Emuna for Shabbat Kodesh. Today we're going to describe and try to understand Hashem's yearning that occurs on Shabbat Kodesh. You see, Hashem yearns, so to speak, for Am Yisrael to reach this level of consciousness where we will connect to the fact that Hashem loves us so much, and that love that we understand that Hashem has for us will, in essence, and as a result, be described and cause us to have this same sort of powerful emotion towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because when we know that Hashem loves us so infinitely, it should compel us to love Him back with all of our heart and all of our soul until we become essentially, so to speak, one with Hashem. Now let's understand there's various types of love that can bond us with Hashem. There's the type of love between father and child, as we read in Hosea. I loved Israel when he was still a youth. So that sort of describes a father loving his child. And even if the child doesn't reciprocate with that love, we all know as parents that we continue to love our child no matter what. And if that love, in fact, does turn to be mutual, it doesn't mean that I can't spread my love to others. In other words, I can have that love for all my children at the same time. So it's this ability to love even if it's not reciprocated, and its ability to love even more than one with a great sense of closeness and desire to be close to that person because of the love. Then there's also the level of loving, which comes from the idea of knowing. And we talked about this a little bit in last week's Shabbat audio, the 7 jewels of Shabbat, where we discussed the idea of da'at, where da'at, the first time we're introduced to the word da'at, it says, an Adam knew Chava. So Adam yada et Chava, he knew Chava. And what we understand in Shir HaShirim from the word da'at is that essentially the idea of knowing should bring us and make us feel this sense of oneness, of attachment to that which we know. So the idea when I know something, it should make me feel that much more of a yearning or a passion to either want to know more or to attach myself to that which I know. And what we need to understand is on that level of da'at, that means that there has to be some sort of a mutual feeling between the knower and the knowing, and the knowee, so to speak. In other words, there has to be this sense of mutual connectedness between the two, and if not, then that harms the attachment between the two. So here we understand that essentially it does have to be mutual, whereas in the first example, love doesn't have to be mutual. I can love my child without him reciprocating. Here, to get to that higher level of attachment with Hashem, we need to know that Hashem loves us and yearns for us to come close to Him, and that essentially enlivens within us this idea of wanting to be close to Him and attach ourselves to Him. And that is essentially the whole idea of Shabbat, is to reach that level of da'at. It's to reach that level of special unity between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And essentially it's the only day of the week where we can achieve this complete union between us and Hashem. And that is, by the way, one of the reasons why Hashem doesn't want any of the other Gentile nations celebrating Shabbat, because it's an intimate union between us and Hashem, and it has to be shared only between us and Hashem. And so the whole idea of knowing and ingraining in our minds how much Hashem loves us, Be'ezrat Hashem, that will help to motivate us and compel us to want to also attach ourselves back to Hashem. And so on Shabbat, by observing the Shabbat, we essentially are led to a certain level of closeness that can't be achieved any other way but through knowing how much Hashem loves us and how exclusive the day is between us and Him. So Be'ezrat Hashem, let's take that warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing Hashem's love for us and make it a great and special Shabbat Kodesh.